Good day to everybody. I am Sukhdev Kaur, a practicing advocate and solicitor of the High Court of Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur. I am doing this video today upon the request of several undergraduate students to inform them about the CLP and the Bptc so that they are able to decide whether they should pursue the CLP or the Bptc. Now, I have been given several questions and I will try to answer all of these questions. Okay. Now, the first question is, what is CLP and Bptc? CLP is the Certificate in Legal Practice. This is the Malaysian Bar Qualifying Exam, whereas Bptc is the Bar Practice Training Course, which is the UK Bar Qualifying Exam. Okay, so after an undergraduate student in law has obtained his or her degree, then it is advisable to either do the CLP or the Bptc in order to then be able to be called to the bar and become a full-fledged advocate and solicitor so that you can become a practicing lawyer. Okay, the second question is, what is the difference between CLP and Bptc? Basically, CLP is the bar qualifying exam in Malaysia. Now, for the CLP, it is all the Malaysian law subjects, which means that all the Malaysian law in all the different areas of law is what the student will study. Now, for 3 years, if the student has been studying UK law and obtained a UK degree in law, now this student will study the Malaysian aspect of the law, which is not very different because we are a Commonwealth country and the basics are the same as the UK law, with slight variations because we have progressed a little bit more and common law has been made statute. Okay, now while the CLP is very academic based, okay, and the student gets to know about the laws in Malaysia, the Bptc is basically of a different concept where they also have moot syllabus for moot courses, in the sense that there is the training given as to how matters are conducted in court, the moot. Okay, and they continue to practice what the procedure is in UK. All right, so basically that's the difference. Whilst the CLP is very Malaysian based, the Bptc is UK based. And what is the requirement to do the CLP or the Bptc? Both requires the undergraduate to have obtained the degree in law, the bachelor's degree in law, LLB honors. Okay, now pros and cons of doing the CLP and Bptc. I would say that if you do the CLP, it becomes easier for you to be able to understand the Malaysian law and apply it once you become a full-fledged lawyer in Malaysia. Now, if you have done the Bptc, it is not to say that you're not going to be able to understand and practice Malaysian law in Malaysia, okay, or that you lack the knowledge because you have not done the CLP, you have not studied. Now, that won't be the case because after having completed the CLP and or the Bptc, you will be required to do pupillage in Malaysia for a minimum of 9 months. Now, during that 9 months, and if you're doing your pupillage in Malaysia, you will be exposed to Malaysian law and the civil procedure in Malaysia. So, it's not to say that you will lose out not knowing how to go about with the Malaysian procedure and the Malaysian law if you have done the Bptc. At the end of the day, having done the Bptc will give you one extra advantage, which is the moot trials that you have studied and undergone during the Bptc. But I'll come back to that one point in a bit. Okay. Um, how are we assessed in CLP and Bptc? CLP is a written exam. Okay, so it's very much like what an undergraduate law student would have studied in the 3 years, exam-based, written paper-based. CLP is very much the same, whereas Bptc has got the written exam and the mooting as well. Okay, now how will CLP or Bptc prepare me to become a lawyer in Malaysia? Now, CLP, as I said, is Malaysian law, Bptc is UK law, and there is the moot aspect of it, both of which, all right, will prepare you to become a lawyer in Malaysia, because to become a lawyer in Malaysia, you would, of course, be expected to know Malaysian law, which you will during your pupillage. If you have done the Bptc, when you do your pupillage, you will be exposed to Malaysian law. And if you have done your CLP, you are exposed to Malaysian law. So both of which will prepare you to become a lawyer in Malaysia, because you will be at least expected to know what the Malaysian position is, okay, in respect of the law in Malaysia. All right. Now, if I were to do the Bptc, will I be able to cope with Malaysian law during my pupillage? Yes, you're a lawyer. You're a law degree holder. So if you could have studied the UK law, then there's nothing to it about coming up to spec with the Malaysian law. You will be able to cope. Okay, not all at once. Okay, and it won't be overwhelming, but you will be exposed to the different aspects of Malaysian law, surely, slowly, but surely. Okay, right. Is CLP difficult to pass? Now, I would say that if you put your heart, mind, and soul into getting something done, then you will get it. CLP becomes difficult only because it is overwhelming. You're studying about 12 to 15 areas of law in 9 months, whereas you have studied 12 areas of law over 3 years when you did the UK degree. Okay, so in that terms, it becomes a bit overwhelming to study 12 to 15 areas of law in 9 months. However, it's not difficult. If you put your mind and soul to it, you can get it done. You'd really need to sit down and understand how Malaysian law works. You have to sit down, burn the midnight oil, and go through the past year questions, write your answers. You have to work diligently, you have to work hard, and there's just no shortcut. Okay, it becomes difficult when you are not prepared. And in order to be prepared to do the CLP and pass the exam in 1 or 2 sittings, sometimes it's just unfortunate, then you really, there's just no shortcut. Okay, Malaysian law is not difficult. It's only overwhelming because you're studying it in 9 months compared to what you've studied in 3 years. Okay, and just do it. There's just no other way. There's no shortcut. You just have to sit down and do it. It's not difficult if you are prepared. That's the key. For me, that's the key. You need to be prepared. You need to work every day at doing passive questions, understanding the subject matter, and then you just can do it. You can do it. Okay. How to do well in CLP? Basically, I've told you there's no shortcut. You just need to burn the midnight oil, be diligent, work hard, you can do it. Okay, right. If I were to do CLP, will I be more knowledgeable in Malaysian law than doing the Bptc? Yes, of course, you have one upper hand because the CLP is actually to prepare you on Malaysian law, all right, which is not very different from UK law, but there is slight difference, slight common law, which has been, now coded into our statutes, all right. And you should be able to cope. In fact, I think it should even be a little bit more easier because if everything is based on the act, on the statute, then that's it. You don't have to prove common law. Now, you must understand that law is ever revolving, ever progressing. Okay, so there is no fixed position, and or it's crafted in hard stone that the position in law cannot change. Okay, so you just have to keep abreast with the developments, and it will come naturally once you are in practice and you are practicing a certain area, and you will follow the development of that area. So in that sense, it's not going to be difficult to practice Malaysian law. It will not be difficult to keep up with the CLP because you will be guided when you're doing the CLP. And I will not say that, having done the CLP, you become more knowledgeable than having done the Bptc. Okay, I'll come back to the point that I stated earlier about doing the moot, all right, during the Bptc. So because the CLP does not have the moot training, all right, it may seem that those who have done the Bptc has an upper hand because they have had the moot training and be able to then go to court and present themselves in court because they know the court procedures, how to do advocacy in court. But you see, it's not to say that if you have done the CLP, you will not be able to do advocacy in court. You will not be able to speak well in court. That's not the case. Okay. Now, presenting yourself in court starts with a lot of preparation at the drawing board. All right. So, which means that before you can even file a suit or before you can even go to court to argue your case, you need to be prepared. You need to do a lot of preparation. You need to do a lot of research to put the best case forward for your client. And advocacy is something that a person develops and improves over time. So as a chambering student, when you're doing your pupillage for the 9 months, you will be given the opportunity to go to court and present your case. Okay. Now, that is where your practical training comes in. So if a student who has done Bptc has had that exposure, it just makes that a little bit simpler, but it's no rocket science. Those who have done the CLP, you will get the opportunity to go to court and present yourself. The only thing to me that makes a difference in every individual lawyer is the ability to put forward your case for the best interest of your client. Okay, remember, as a lawyer, your first duty is towards the court because you're an officer of the court. Okay, so you will learn during the CLP and Bptc, all right, of some of the professional practice elements, okay, and how do you put your best case towards for your client in court. Advocacy comes in, and advocacy is improved over time. Okay, so together with advocacy, there are other elements. Language in the sense of professional language. You speak politely, and you whether you're speaking in the English language or the Bahasa Malaysia language, get a hold of the proper grammar, tenses, okay, and you do not scream and shout in order to put your case forward if you are adamant that that is the position for your client. All this comes into advocacy, and you will learn over time. Okay, there are certain manner in how to put your case forward, and then it is left to the courts to decide. So in short, right, advocacy is a training, is a lifetime training. Okay, so we all learn every day, and that's something that you do not have to be worried about. You just have to be prepared. If you have to practice, standing in front of the mirror before you go to court in order to be confident with what you say and how you're going to present your case, so be it, do it. Okay, right. So that is the answer for the last question. If I study CLP, how do I improve my advocacy skills? In fact, Bar Council every now and then does have courses on advocacy skills. So once you are doing your pupillage or you've become a full-fledged lawyer called to the Malaysian Bar in your first year of practice, look out for these courses and attend them, and you will be able to learn the elements and the fine tunes of becoming good at your advocacy skills. Like I said, it's skills, and because it is skills, it is something that is improved over time. All right, so there was one question here. How will CLP or Bptc prepare me to become a lawyer in Malaysia? I think that, overall, the answers that I've given to the questions, okay, at the end of the day, whether you do the CLP or you do the Bptc, all right, the knowledge and the experience that you have gotten from doing these courses will prepare you to become a lawyer in Malaysia, because the CLP or the Bptc is designed to do that. All right. So in short, what I'll say is this. Now, you are an undergraduate student in doing the law degree. If you are doing the UK law, you are actually exposed to UK law. All right. Now, if you continue to do the Bptc, then you are continuing to do the civil procedure and matters or in relation to UK law. All right. When you come back to Malaysia, and you will get called to the bar in the UK, okay, having completed the Bptc. And when you come back to Malaysia, all right, you will have to do the pupillage for 9 months and then get called to the Malaysian bar, whether it's at the High Court of Malaya, in any of the courts in Peninsular Malaysia, or at the High Court of Malaya in Sabah and Sarawak. All right, it depends on where you are from. All right. Now, having been called to the bar, you go into the first year. All right. So it is during the pupillage time when you will now learn about Malaysian law, but it will come in piecemeal style because it depends on where you're doing your pupillage. All right. Now, if it is in a firm that practices all areas of law, then you will be exposed based on the files that you are given conduct of. Okay. And to actually be able to conduct your cases or learn up what the Malaysian law is, okay, will take a little bit of time, because it all depends on which area of practice that you go into. But nevertheless, you will learn. Okay, it will come in your way because you are practicing in Malaysia. All right. Now, for the students who have gotten the UK law degree and decide to do the CLP in Malaysia, now to do the CLP, remember, you're going to be doing 12 to 15 areas of law in Malaysia in 9 months. All right, that becomes a little bit overwhelming. You have to put in a lot more effort, especially in being able to draft statement of claims, okay, defenses, replies. These are the pleadings, all right, and also to be able to answer problem questions, for example, under land law, or matters that relates to winding up and bankruptcy, because these are all the areas of law that will be tested. And of course, it will be Malaysian law. So in a sense, you will have the upper hand because you would have studied the Malaysian law, okay? And upon passing the CLP, when you do your pupillage, you already have knowledge of the Malaysian law. So then you'll be saying that, okay, I don't know how to handle matters in court because I do not have the advantage of the advocacy training, the mood training, like my fellow friend who has done the Bptc. Doesn't matter because during their pupillage, you will be guided and exposed on how to conduct your matters in the courts. Okay, for 3 months, you will have exposure to the lower courts, okay, the magistrates court, and after that, you will have some exposure, some limited exposures to the high court. Okay, so in the 9 months, all right, you will definitely be going to court. You will definitely be handling matters. Okay, the only matters that you will not handle is the ones that requires you to wear a robe, that is to appear before a judge, because students are not yet called to the bar, hence you are not able to wear the robe. You only wear the robe after you have been called to the bar. So with certain limitations as to who you appear before, okay, needless to say that you will have your advocacy exposure. So do not worry that if you're a CLP student and you wonder how you're going to be performing in court because you do not have the advocacy exposure, don't worry about it. It will come. You will get your training. Okay, and look out for the courses that Bar Council has every now and then on advocacy training and skills. There are also some of our very senior lawyers who do give CPD courses, continuing professional development courses, all right, under the Bar Council on ways to improve your advocacy skills. How do you do your written submissions? How do you do your pleadings? Right? So you can look out for those, and that will help you to improve. Right? So whether you should do the CLP or the Bptc is entirely up to you. You decide. Okay. If you're going to come back to Malaysia and practice in as a lawyer in Malaysia, doing the CLP or the Bptc, the it doesn't matter. Either one will allow you to practice in Malaysia. But if you intend to continue to practice in the UK, then obviously you have to do the Bptc, right? And if you intend to practice in any other Commonwealth countries, then you are advised to look at the requirements of those individual countries as to whether you need to do the Bptc, or if you do the CLP, what do you need to do in order to be able to practice in that country? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think each country will have their qualifying papers as well. All right. So with that, the other factor will be something that your parents will have to consider, and that will be the finances. Okay, I will not touch on on the topic of finances because it's individual to everybody. Okay, I would say that in my personal experience, I have no regrets doing the CLP, and in fact, I am very happy that I have done the CLP, and it has definitely helped me to prepare me to become a lawyer in Malaysia. All right, and I'm now in my 6th year of practice, and it certainly has helped me. So this has been my journey. It's because I wanted to practice in Malaysia because I'm a Malaysian and I live in Malaysia. So obviously I wanted to know about my Malaysian law to help me in becoming a lawyer in Malaysia. And I was happy to do the CLP. Now, if you are happy to do the Bptc and come back to Malaysia and practice as a lawyer, then that's fine as well. That will be very good as well, because at the end of the day, all the bar qualifying exams that allows you to practice in Malaysia is going to be an advantage to you. All right, your exposure from the from having studied either at the CLP or the Bptc will definitely help you to become a lawyer in Malaysia. Right now, with that, I think I have answered the questions. If you have any further questions, then please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. I am Sukhdev Kaur, and my legal firm is Law Chambers of Sukhdev, and I'll be pleased to assist you. But remember, I am not going to be able to make that decision for you as to whether you want to sit for the CLP or the Bptc. All right, it is something for you to consider. It is something for you to be prepared and decide whether you want to do the CLP or the Bptc. Before I end the session, I'll just like to say one thing. Okay, do not be afraid of the CLP. It is overwhelming, yes. There are scary stories about students having to resit more than 3 times or 4 times, yes. But the reality is this: if you are prepared and you have worked hard and you have put in, all the extra effort that is required, then you will be able to do this in one sitting or at least 2. You can do it. Believe you can do it and you will be able to do it. So, with that, have a good day, stay safe, and good luck. Bye.